My mother tossed it out like a punchline. If you vanished tomorrow, no one would care. The table erupted in laughter. I didn't react. I sat still, eyes fixed on my plate, letting the chuckles fade. Then I delivered my single line, and her grin crumbled. Silence fell, heavy and sudden, until I broke it. When she said it, something inside me fractured, but I kept it hidden. I stayed composed because I knew what they didn't. Soon, they'd regret every smirk they'd ever aimed at me. The family reunion was typical: too much wine, fake smiles, and questions dripping with judgment. I was used to being the family's punching bag, the odd one out, the failure they loved to mock. But this summer was different. Everything had shifted. I waited until the laughter died. I tapped my glass with a spoon, once, twice. Heads turned, some still snickering. My mom leaned back, ready to fire another barb. I stood, pulled a folded paper from my bag, and placed it beside the breadbasket and a half-empty bottle of Merlot. That's fine, I said. Grandpa would care. Her face froze, the smile wiped clean. The table went quiet, confusion rippling through the group. I nodded at the paper. That's Grandpa's updated will. No one spoke. They exchanged glances, waiting for someone to call it a prank. It wasn't. 2 weeks earlier, Grandpa had called me. He was tired of how I'd been treated, fed up with the family acting like I was a blemish to erase at every gathering. He wanted to set things right, so we did. He revised his will, leaving everything to me. The house, the property, the accounts, the lake cabin everyone squabbled over every summer. It was signed, witnessed, notarized. I looked at my mom. I'm not your scapegoat anymore. Not your backup plan. Not your doormat. Not your favorite target. Then I turned to Tyler, who was already squirming. And don't bother calling the financial aid office. Your tuition isn't my problem anymore. Dead silence. My aunt reached for the paper, but I slid it out of reach. You don't need to see it. It's real. It's mine. I sat down, picked up my fork, and acted like nothing had happened. No one spoke for minutes. Even Grandpa, sitting under the oak tree, just watched. That was the moment the family's facade shattered. Right there at the picnic table, everyone in their Sunday clothes, clutching their plastic cups, stunned like they'd been doused with cold water. And they had no clue what was coming next. They sat there, shell-shocked, after I dropped the news. Some stared at their plates. Others pretended to eat. Someone mumbled about road construction, but it landed flat. The air was thick, like they were waiting for proof I'd misread something, that Grandpa was confused, that it was a draft. But he wasn't. And I hadn't. No one congratulated me. No one said my name. It was as if I'd vanished, which was ironic given the joke that started it all. By the time the sun set and people started leaving, the backyard felt like a wake. Mom hadn't come back outside since the will hit the table. Tyler tried to play it cool, cracking a joke to our cousin Ethan as he left, but he avoided my eyes. No one met my gaze. I stayed to help Grandpa inside. He didn't say much, just patted my arm and told me to stay smart. Then he went to bed like it was any other evening. I didn't sleep. The next morning, my phone showed 4 missed calls from an unknown number and a voicemail. This is Karen from Student Services at Fulton University. I'm calling to confirm your request to cancel Tyler Monroe's tuition coverage for the fall. Please verify, as this impacts his enrollment status. I stared at the ceiling. I hadn't contacted the school. I checked my email, no sent messages, no drafts. But someone had used an address almost identical to mine, 1 letter off, a fake. They were trying to outmaneuver me, to make it look like I'd lost control. I spent the next hour securing everything: passwords, security questions, 2-factor authentication. I deleted the old shared cloud account Tyler and I had from high school. Every digital tie, severed. 2 hours later, Mom called. No hello, just Venom. So you're really doing this? I told her I hadn't sent the email, that someone else had. Her reply was icy. Maybe it's just fate. Then she hung up. By midday, the rumors started. First on social media, then in group chats I wasn't part of but heard about. Half the town seemed to know, or thought they did. The story being spread was that I'd coerced Grandpa into changing the will while his memory was failing, that I'd manipulated him, turned him against his family. One post even suggested elder abuse, claiming I'd isolated him until he signed. Tyler shared a photo of himself on the campus quad with a vague caption. Some people only care when you're useful. Lesson learned. Mom added a string of sobbing emojis and praying hands. My aunt commented about snakes hiding in tall grass. I didn't reply, Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't need to. They thought I only had a signature on a page. They thought they could smear my name and make it all fall apart. They didn't know Grandpa had recorded everything. Every discussion, every change, every reason. He had notarized documents, witnessed conversations. He wasn't confused, he was calculated. And I had copies of it all. This wasn't over. They'd taken the first shot. They were about to learn how far I'd go. By Monday, it was clear they weren't backing down. My phone buzzed constantly, notifications, unknown numbers, messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. The poison had spread beyond the family. A Facebook post from my aunt, vague but pointed, talked about a grieving family and a vulnerable elder exploited. No names, but enough hints for locals to piece it together. By noon, a Reddit thread appeared under a throwaway account. Someone guessed it was about me. Tyler liked a comment. Mom added more broken heart emojis to the original post, and strangers started messaging me, calling me a monster, saying I'd pay, or asking for my side, in a way that screamed they just wanted gossip. I hadn't told anyone outside the family. No announcement, nothing. They'd done this themselves, moving fast because they were scared. They were trying to outrun the truth. I drove to Grandpa's that evening. I hadn't told him about the rumors yet, but I wanted him to hear it from me. He was on the porch, newspaper in hand, glasses low on his nose. I handed him my phone with screenshots. He read them slowly, then shook his head. They're playing dirty, thinking you can't fight back. But I could. Grandpa had prepared for this months ago. He didn't just have a new will, he had receipts, transcripts, even recorded calls. He hadn't done it for me, he said, but because he was tired of people pretending to be something they weren't. He said it like it was about legacy, not vengeance. But the look he gave me when he handed me the folder told me he knew this day would come. I went home, expecting a quiet night to plan my next move. Instead, my apartment's security camera pinged, motion detected. Living room, 8:41 p.m. I opened the app and watched. Someone in a hoodie, head down, moved quickly to my desk, stayed 5 minutes, then left. No forced entry, no damage, just a key. It hit me. Only one other person had a key to my place. Tyler, from when I let him crash during spring break. The next morning, screenshots of my private messages appeared on Reddit. Old texts, taken out of context, where I vented about toxic family gatherings or quoted Grandpa saying Mom only called when she needed something. The post painted me as scheming for months. That's when I stopped reacting and started planning. Grandpa's folder wasn't just a will. It included a transcript of a call between Mom and Uncle Greg, dated a month before the reunion. I read it 3 times to be sure. They were plotting to handle Grandpa's affairs before I could get involved, talking about making sure I didn't touch a dime. The worst part? They said, he's old enough not to notice if we shift things early. They'd planned to go behind his back. Grandpa had beaten them to it. I took the transcript to my lawyer, along with the security footage and the university's email about the impersonation attempt. He didn't flinch. Let them talk, he said. We'll speak louder. But I had a better idea. Tyler was the family's mouthpiece, posting, hinting, rallying people against me like he was the wronged sibling. So I paid him a visit. No call, no text. I just showed up at his overpriced student apartment, the one our parents had been paying for. He opened the door, smug for a split second until he saw the envelope in my hand. Relax, I said. I'm not here to argue. He didn't invite me in, but I walked in anyway. His roommate was out. The place was a mess. Empty cans, a gaming chair, a huge TV. His laptop was open on the counter, Reddit still up. I set the envelope next to it. Read it. He hesitated, then unfolded the transcript. I watched his eyes scan the pages, his jaw tighten when he hit the part about moving things early. Then the third page, where his name appeared. Grandpa had recorded a call with Mom 2 months prior, where Tyler's tuition came up. Grandpa said he was done paying it, that Tyler needed to stand on his own. Mom pleaded, even mentioned taking a loan in Grandpa's name. Grandpa refused. I included that, too. Tyler's face shifted, not dramatically, just a crack behind his eyes. He'd built a narrative where I was the villain, but now he saw Grandpa was never on his side. He tried to brush it off. This is fake. I told him it wasn't, that copies were with my lawyer and in a digital vault. I wasn't there to threaten him, just to give him a choice. Keep lying, keep pushing, or stop. If he continued, he'd be the one answering for it. His silence was enough. I left without another word. The next day, the Reddit thread vanished. Tyler's vague posts disappeared. Mom locked her Facebook. Aunt Cara made her profile private. The group chat I'd been excluded from shut down. But the real shock came that night when Dad showed up at my door. He'd barely acknowledged me at the reunion, but now he stood there, holding a bag, his face softer than I'd seen in years. He handed it to me. Inside was Grandma's jewelry box, the one Mom claimed was lost. He said one thing before leaving. "You're not the only one fed up with her." That's when I realized the cracks were deeper than I thought. This wasn't just about inheritance anymore. It was about truth, and some people weren't ready for it. For 3 days, things went quiet. The Reddit thread was gone, Mom's account was locked, Tyler's posts were deleted. My phone stopped buzzing. It looked like they'd backed off, but I knew that kind of silence. It wasn't calm. It was the pause before a storm gathers strength. On the third night, Grandpa called. "Come over tonight," he said, his voice steady but edged. When I arrived, the porch light was off. Dad was at the kitchen table, a half-empty coffee mug beside him, a thick folder in front of him. Grandpa sat in his recliner, glasses on, eyes sharp. Dad slid the folder to me without looking up. Inside were bank statements, withdrawal forms, emails, loan applications, all in Mom's name. For months, she'd tried to open a credit line against Grandpa's house before the will changed. She'd gone to a second bank when the first rejected her. An email from Greg to her talked about moving assets before they're locked. And then, the page that made my hands tremble, an email from Tyler, sent from his university account, following up with a bank officer, pushing for a faster review of Mom's request. Dad spoke. "She left this in a drawer, like I wouldn't see it." This was the man who'd told me to shrug off their jabs my whole life. Now his face was stone. "I've filed for legal separation," he said. "My lawyers already notified the bank about attempted fraud." Grandpa leaned forward. "Now you see why I changed the will." I left with the folder clutched tight. In my car, I sat staring at it. All this time, they'd called me the weak one, the one who needed them. But they were the ones scheming in the shadows. When I got home, another surprise, an email from the university. Due to new information from the Monroe family, a hold has been placed on Tyler Monroe's student account pending investigation. I read it 3 times. They'd turned on him. Either the bank alerted the school, or Dad's lawyer had moved faster than I thought. By noon, Tyler was texting me in all caps, accusing me of ruining his life, demanding to know what I'd done. But I hadn't done anything yet. For the first time, Tyler was the one people whispered about, the one whose future was shaky, the one no one would answer. The black sheep. But no one, not Grandpa, not Dad, not my lawyer, knew about the final file. Grandpa had given it to me in a sealed envelope with my name on it, telling me to keep it secret until the time was right. It wasn't a transcript or a recording. It was something bigger, something that would erase any doubt about who was telling the truth. With the family scrambling and Tyler unraveling, I knew the moment was close. One more move, and they'd be left in the ruins of their own lies. I waited 3 more days, not out of doubt, but to let them think I'd softened, that the storm had passed. Tyler stopped texting. Mom hadn't called since Dad served her papers. Greg went silent, which was telling for someone who always played the peacemaker after chaos. But they didn't know what I held. The document was 6 pages, typed, dated, signed, witnessed, not from Grandpa's lawyer, but his accountant. It outlined a financial transfer made 6 months before the will changed, a 7-figure sum moved into a private trust for me. Separate from the house, the cabin, the savings. Untouchable, irrevocable, already matured. No one else knew it existed. I played that card at the family mediation meeting, called by Mom's lawyer once she realized Dad was serious and Grandpa wasn't saving her. They wanted to clear up misunderstandings. I agreed, but only if everyone was there. Greg, Tyler, Cara, all who tried to tear me down. We met in a sterile office with stiff chairs and fake ferns. The lawyer looked like he despised us all equally. Tyler showed up in a hoodie, exhausted. Mom dressed like she was attending a funeral. Greg's smugness faded the moment I set the document on the table and slid it forward. They didn't understand at first. Greg scanned it, froze. Tyler leaned over, lips moving as he read. "What's this?" Mom asked. "The money Grandpa already gave me," I said, locking eyes with her. "6 months ago, before any of this. You've been chasing the wrong prize. Burn the will. It won't change a thing. This was never about the house. She opened her mouth, then closed it, looking to the lawyer for a miracle. There wasn't one. I stood. You called this meeting to get ahead, but there's no point pretending. You all know what you did, what you tried, and what it cost. Tyler looked like he wanted to vanish. You decide how this goes, I said. Quiet or loud. I didn't shout. I didn't threaten. I just walked out. That night, Grandpa called. You handled it. I told him I was done dragging it out, but they wouldn't drag me either. And that's how it ended. Tyler dropped out 2 months later, moved out of state with a friend, working nights, trying to reapply to a new school. Mom stopped showing up to family events. Greg wasn't invited anymore. Me? I kept the house, the land, the trust. But more than that, I kept my dignity, my truth, my place. No one mocked me anymore. The black sheep wasn't so black after all.